Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live score webinar on the SEO game just changed, how to stay visible when your customers search with AI. I'm Bob Hogan, the webinar coordinator today and the business mentor here at SCORE Western Connecticut, and I'll be your host today, and our presenter is Jennifer DeRosa. More on Jennifer in just a minute, but first some brief information on SCORE. SCORE is a nonprofit national partner of the SBA with over 10,000 volunteers nationally, and here at Western Connecticut SCORE, we have over 130 business mentors with a wide range of industry, process, and subject matter expertise. We offer three primary value-added services to small business owners. First of all, we offer free one-on-one counseling, and you can access that face-to-face by telephone, email, or video, whatever works best for you. And you can do that by clicking on the Request a Mentor link on our website or via the link that you see later on the screen. Secondly, we offer a wide range of educational workshops and webinars like the one today. And lastly, we offer extensive resources on our website, including access to subject matter experts. Just some useful information about today's webinar. We have set aside time for Q&A at the end of Jennifer's presentation. And if you have a question, please use the chat window at any time during the presentation. It's located in the lower part of your screen. And we will end sharply, though, at 1 p.m. to respect your time. The session is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be available on our website, westernconnecticut.score.org, within the next couple of days. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Jennifer DeRosa. Jennifer has been building websites since she learned HTML back in 1994, and she spent the last 28 years teaching entrepreneurs, small businesses, nonprofits, students, and fellow web developers how to do it. She built and sold a successful web development agency, TechCare LLC, before turning her focus to coaching and to the work she does at Toto SEO, an AI-forward SEO and web development agency. Jennifer is the author of Building DIY Websites for Dummies and a graduate of MIT's Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning program. She's a two-time SCORE award winner, a regular SCORE webinar presenter, and a keynote speaker at events like Space Coast Business Fest. Her real gift is taking technical topics and making them make sense to non-technical people, and she does it without the jargon or the fluff. Today, Jennifer helps business owners stay visible in a world where customers are searching with AI, not just Google. She teaches what it actually takes for ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Perplexity to know who you are and recommend you, and she does it the way she's always taught: clear, honest, and a little bit of fun. Jennifer, it's all yours.
Oh, just trying to find my unmute button. Thank you so much. That was great, Bob. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. We've got a good crowd, and if you are here, that tells me that you are paying attention to what's going on and you understand that there are major changes that are happening in our industry. A lot is staying the same, and there's a lot of new things changing. So my goal here is to help you as a business owner, or if you are a marketing expert, someone working for somebody else, and this is your job, to bring in leads. And you've found out you're not bringing in leads from your website, from your online presence, and you're trying to figure this out. So what my job today is to do is to uh, change any thinking or any mindsets that you may have from all the years that we've been doing things on the internet, to help you understand what is changing so that you have a better understanding of what you need to do to your online presence, or in your online presence, whether you can do some things yourself, whether you need to hire somebody, but I want to also make you educated so that you know what you're looking for. Because this world that I'm in, this SEO world, right? There's a lot of, you could say, snake oil being sold out there, and you don't know because you are not an expert. I'm thinking some of you may be, but most of you are probably an expert at what you do in your business, right? So that's where your expertise lies, and you're not an expert in this. And it is becoming, we're getting to a point where if you don't have an expert helping you, sometimes it's a lot, it's almost essential to have someone helping you. So my goal is to help you be clear on that, okay? And to help you change your mindset and to understand it. This is not a workshopy webinar where I'm going to go in and say, okay, click here and do this and do this and do that, because everyone's situation is different. We're all in different industries. Some of us are in B2B, some of us are B2C, some of us are, sell consumer packaged goods, some of us sell a service. We're all in different. Some of us are local, some of us are national, some of us are blend. Like there's just so many different factors that every situation can be very different. But the things I'm going to talk to you about here apply to all of us. Okay. So before we begin, I want to just put in the chat if you can put in a 1, 2, 3, or 4 that describes you, so I just know who I'm talking to and I can, I'm not going to leave anyone out. Like if I can kind of explain things in a different way. So if you right now, do you rely on Google to bring in your customers? Some people rely on that. Okay. Some people that's like they're relying on referrals or, walk-in traffic or whatever. I also want to know if you've tried ChatGPT or another AI tool to find out if your website is coming up. If your website is one of your primary marketing tools, and or 4, if you have no idea if AI recommends your business. So, like, what do we think about that? Where's my chat window? Why don't I see it here? Are people able to type it into chat? Oh, here we go. Great. Sorry. Okay. Just a lot of windows on here. So people, I've got some 4, 1, 3, 2, and 3. Oh, we're all over the place. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Okay. So a lot of us do rely on Google to bring customers in. A lot of us has tried, or we want our website to be a primary marketing tool, and we're not really sure if we're coming up. Okay, so good. So just so you know about me, we literally wrote the book on building websites that search engines and people love. Wiley Publishing contracted with me to write the book on how to build websites. It's a book on strategy, not on click here, click there, because there's two things when you do anything in life, right? There is the strategy and then there is the implementation. There's other parts as well. But just because you can do the implementation, because you know how to work software, does not mean that you understand the strategy. And believe me, I work with a lot of web developers. And in this world that we're in now, web developers and SEO people or strategists can perform 2 different tasks. I find that especially now with technology, I've been in technology, right, where it was the phone people that would come in with soldering guns to work on all of the wires that connected our computers. Now, phone people like only do like PBX, or they only do like they sell particular types of, you know, um, uh, phones that are in the cloud, right? And there's other people that do the structured cabling. So my point is everyone's becoming more and more specialized. And so if you hire a web developer, sometimes they know how to physically put modules on a page and how to build out a page, but they don't necessarily know the strategy that goes into it, right? And then there's other people that know strategy and maybe they don't know implementation. This book teaches you strategy. And I also am the founder of Toto SEO, where we do all these things. The reason that I'm able to give you this presentation today is because you can ask my husband. He's told me actually I got to get out of this really other world that is this online world. I am constantly reading, constantly going to webinars, constantly researching and informing myself and my team on what is going on in SEO. And that's what we do for our clients at Toto SEO. And I'm the founder of Toto Coaching, where I teach you how to build a website. Well, the strategy, same things in the book. And as Bob mentioned, I was in a program at MIT University on AI and machine learning. Okay. I was going to put a QR code here. But if you want, I have an AI visibility audit you can run on your website if you want to. If you go to Toto SEO and you go under the resources area and the Toto AI audit, okay, you can this is not a complete audit. Okay, to do a complete audit, I can do one for you and I can generate a 40-page document. I have systems set up that I built and I created and vibe coded that will help me get that information. This is a very stripped down version. It's not going to give you the full, okay? But we'll check for certain things on your website to see if you've done them correctly. I'll put this up at the end as well. Okay, let's get into this. Search has changed. All right. What we normally have had all these years, right? Since the mid 2000s, I guess, right? We've gotten 10 blue links, right? Page one, you go to page two, you've got 10 more blue links, right? So when you do a search online, Bing, DuckDuckGo, Google, you search for something, you get a list of the 10 blue links, right? We all know this. Now we have Google AI overviews. We have Claude. We have Gemini. All these different things. We don't, and everyone is aware of this now, I think. Okay, I don't need to spend too much time on that. But I want you to think about this in another way. People are not searching, they're asking the questions, okay? And people don't want links. We don't want links. We don't want links. We want answers. Like, are you finding yourself? I'm finding that I read the AI overview, and a lot of times the information that's in the AI overview, if I'm using Google, it can be incorrect, especially when it comes to like if I look up a lot of stuff on software, right? Like how to do something, and it'll be like, oh, go to this menu item and go here. Well, guess what? That menu item does not exist. So AI has a tendency to hallucinate a lot. All right. And then the more and more we're doing with AI, the more we're relying on it, the more we're being like, wow, this is really amazing. Everything, there's hallucinations in there. And so we're relying on that AI overview, even with the hallucination. So that's just something to think about. We don't want AI to hallucinate about our business and about what we offer. We need to do as much work as we can to control those hallucinations. Okay. So instead of searching, a best accountant near me and getting 10 blue links, people are saying like something like, who's the best accountant for a small business in Naples, right? AI gives a recommendation. It might give a couple. They're going to give a recommendation. Okay. And there's no page two anymore. Okay. So we would have the 10 blue links. We go to the second page. There's no. That's not happening now. Right. So if AI doesn't know you, you simply don't appear. And it's not just about Google. People are asking all kinds of questions, as I'm sure you are as well. Okay. And what's really funny is I just went on vacation and I went with another couple, and the other couple, they are retired. They're young like me. I'm calling myself young. But they are not on the computer all day. That's what I'm saying. And the husband that was on the vacation with us, I don't think he owns a computer, and he loves to fish. He's fisherman. He was a driver his whole life, right? So he really wasn't at a computer or a desk or anything. He was a power user of ChatGPT the whole time we were on vacation. He was like, tell me about take a snap picture. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. You're getting all kinds of information from that. So it's not only people who are tech savvy who are using AI to get information. It is everybody. Okay. And the recommendation has become the search result. So why does this matter? Businesses in general aren't losing customers because they're worse or they've done something, right? They're losing visibility because machines don't understand them. This is solvable. This is very important. Right here. You're not losing customers because you're worse. You're losing customers because the AI doesn't understand your business. If you're not coming up, AI has problems understanding your business. You can fix it. It's fixable. It's not 2 seconds and it's not easy and it's a lot of work, but you can fix it. And it's good work. It's very good work to do. Actually, I meant to put another slide in here. If you go to my website, I love saying this. Here's another way to think about it. What you want to do is train the models. So when I told you I was at that program at MIT University, one of the things we did, we would take big data sets and we use this software. All right. We would take the big data set. So the data set would be it didn't have a lot of information for our purposes. Right. And so one of the data sets was an Amazon data set that had only the columns user ID. It was real data set, actually. A user ID, the product that user purchased, and the star rating. And you might have the user ID in there 4, 5, 10 times because maybe they purchased 10 things. And you would have the data, the number of the item they purchased and their star, how many stars they gave it. And so what it would do is if you could see if if this million, there's a million lines of code in there. And if you saw that like 10 of the people purchased ID number 25 and all gave it 5 stars, and those 10 people also purchased another ID and gave it 5 stars, right? If a new person had only purchased one thing at 10 and they gave the number 25 5 stars, most likely they're going to give the other one 5 stars. Those are called recommendation systems. That's when you go into Netflix and you see what is recommended for you, right? Or you go like to Amazon, what's recommend. Anytime you see these, that's how they come up with the recommendation systems. That's how Google Ads work. That's how everything is working. These recommendation systems. They see what is the past training? What is the past data? All these people who have bought this also purchased this and love it. Anyone else that's going to purchase this first product probably will like the second product. Okay. That is what you need to. So what we would do is we would take our data set and do it into 2 sets, right? So one was to set up the model so we could act correctly predict the other people, whether they wanted to buy whether they would like the second product or not. So we would train the model and then we would test the model. You need to train the model. You need to train the model. You need to say, hey, everyone who has liked this one is going to like my business too, basically, in a sense. Okay. We are training the models. Okay. This is what AI actually does. Okay. AI doesn't read your website like a person. It asks, who are you? Who do you help? Why should I trust you? What do you do? Where do you work? And should I recommend you? That's what AI is doing. But most websites that are built can't answer those questions. They've got a beautiful design. You know how many people I would work with over the years? So I've been building websites since the 90s, right? And people would say to me, I want it clean. I don't want much information. Oh, look at my competitors. They just have pictures and they have like 4 or 5 words. I want it like them. I want it beautiful. When you have it like that, that's not helpful. It doesn't train the models very well if there's no words on your pages, right? There's nothing to train. They may have great photos. They may have some good copy. But AI still can't confidently explain what the business actually does. Okay? So you need to remember now. This is a big deal because I just read an article. Actually, I'm going to pull it up in a second. Your website has 2 audiences: humans, which has always been, right? That's who we've been designing for all this time, right? We've also been designing for Google. If you're doing any SEO work, or always were. SEO was always laying out things so that search engines can understand your website. And now AI. Humans want persuasion. Humans want that marketing copy. The best this, the best that, right? Oh, we're going to make you feel better. Oh, we're going to help your life. Oh, welcome to now you can relax, right? They want all that, right? We want to be persuaded. That messaging, you can get very good persuasion messaging when you do a buyer persona. You understand your customer. But AI doesn't like that. AI is neutral party. AI is not going to trust it. Just because you write something online doesn't make it true. Okay. So just because you write how great your business is and how much better you are or what have you, that doesn't help AI because AI is not going to cite that information. Now, AI will recommend businesses very much so based off of other people's reviews, which is a whole other topic to talk about. Because if you want to focus on something, like if this is like a lot for you today, I'm just going to give you one little hint. And if you want to focus on something that moves the needle, go get more reviews. Get people talking about you on Reddit if you can. That could be your secret sauce, and get more reviews, okay? But we don't need to have ourselves saying how great we are in the marketing language, we can do that for humans, but we also need to talk to AI. So we've got to talk to both audiences. We need to have the persuasion for when people do come to our website, but AI. And I will tell you, let me just look and see if I can find this statistic really quickly on another window. One moment. I just read this article. I'm going to read, yeah, here it is. Okay. So I just read this article. This is on WordLift. Okay. And I'm going to read this to you, what I just read. The internet was built on the assumption that a human sits on the other side of every screen. That no longer holds. In June 2026, Cloudflare's radar data, so Cloudflare is a really, really, really large, they're a domain, they're a very large provider. They're in the internet and showed that agentic AI bots generating 57.4% of the web requests globally, with humans down to 42.6%. Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince, who had expected the crossover in 2027, said it arrived faster than predicted and called the data a little bit messy, but clearly past the tipping point. Ordinary crawlers passed human traffic a decade ago. What is new is agentic traffic, the systems that browse the web on your behalf when you ask an AI assistant a question. So that's a big deal. Now, if your website is not showing up in AI search, doesn't mean that it's bad. It means it's probably confusing. You may have inconsistent wording. I just spoke with a client this morning, and she does coaching and she does some medical work with her clients. She can do medical work in New York and Florida, and she can do coaching all over the United States. That's really messy. That's really messy. If you are not clear, AI is not going to recommend you because it's not sure. Can I recommend this person if they're in New York? Can I recommend them if they're in Tennessee? Can I recommend them if they're in Florida, California? What? If you are not clear and you have inconsistent wording, like maybe one place you say, we see people in New York and Florida, another place you say, we see people nationwide, which one is true? And if AI gets confused, they ignore you. So you need to be consistent in your wording or how you call things, your nomenclature. I have another client, they do ice cream. They make a really amazing small batch ice cream. So I was looking through their website with my developer and I noticed we had some places we called it alcohol infused and other places called it liquor infused. You have to pick something and be very clear. You can call it both, but then there's ways to do it. You have to be very clear. Okay. Some websites don't have a clear structure. There's different ways that can mean different things. It can mean your URL structure. It can mean the page structure, the content on the page. It can mean your structure of having structured data on your website. But structure, computers love structure. They love structure. They love fields. They're computers. Remember all those if then when we were younger, we do have those flowcharts. If then going on. That's how the computers work. So they want structure. They want it very easy to read. And a lot of websites are missing information. They're missing facts. So AI rewards this clarity. The clearer your business is, the easier you are to recommend. Clarity beats cleverness. Like I go to websites and people be like, welcome to your new oasis on the homepage. Like, what does that mean? AI doesn't like it. It's not clear. Are you a resort? Are you a meditation studio or what are you, right? You don't know what that means. If your website says stuff like that, that's clever, it's not being rewarded. Okay. We want clarity. So what you want to do is think like a computer. I think that's how I think. That's why I like this so much, right? So some of us think this way and some of us don't. That's okay. Find someone who thinks this way to help you, right? So this is really key. Imagine that AI had to introduce your company. Could it finish this sentence by looking at only your website? And if you might have a difficult time doing this, ask someone who doesn't know your business. But literally, can your website complete? This company helps who? By providing what? Right? For what? So if it can't do this, it probably can't recommend you. So AI, remember, it doesn't rank businesses, it understands businesses. And understanding comes before recommendation. AI looks for a clear business identity. So your legal name. Are you DBA? Is your legal name one and you're doing business as another? Well, that's kind of confusing. You need to state that, okay? We make something called a facts page for our clients. If you go to totoseo.com/FACTS, you can see what we do, okay? My business name is Toto Coaching because that's what I was going to mainly do after I sold my business, right? With my Toto Coaching course and the book and everything. And then I realized, okay, nobody actually really wants to learn how to do their website on their own and be taught, even though they say they do. Really, no one wants to do the work. Just don't. So, anyways, so I started doing Toto SEO. Well, Toto SEO is part of Toto Coaching. I need to be very clear. It's stated on my facts page. Okay. Clear business identity. Who runs the company? When was formed? How many, where are the locations? How many employees? All that. Okay. Looks for all of these things: evidence, clear services, consistent language, and it builds a mental model. AI builds a mental model of your business, your services, your locations, your customers, your credentials, your reviews, your recommendations, and your problem solved. And every single page on your website should answer, what is this page about? Who is it for? What problem does it solve? And how does it relate to the rest of the website? Every page of your website. So, do you see this one here? What is this page about? This is an area, people are doing it less and less nowadays, which is good. But this is an area where I find when people come to me, clients come to me, I see a lot of websites that what they have done is number one, they put all of their services on one page. They just have a page called services, and then they list out all their services. That is um, if you go to that page, what is that page about? That page is about multiple services, right? A lot of different things. So right there, you're knocked out. You're knocked out because you need to have a page that clearly talks about, or it's a recommendation to have a page that talks about one of your services. Each service gets its own page, okay? Because sometimes you have services that are for, some might be commercial. If you're a fencing company, you might have do fences for commercial clients and some for residential, right? So that's two different audiences. You need two different pages to talk to the two different audiences, okay? Because they also have different problems, right? Commercial clients want to keep out people looting, okay? And they want to keep their stuff safe, whereas residential people mostly want fences for other reasons. We can go over all those reasons, right? So the biggest mistake is businesses try to optimize so then they say, okay, let me go through and let me just look at these pages and optimize one page and optimize another page. And this is what, when I said in the beginning about a lot of people being in this industry who like selling, like kind of, they're not, they're selling you something that is not really having real impact that will move the needle, because remember, you would go in, you'd call up somebody for SEO, or someone might approach you, and then they would go, or you've seen websites like this, and they would just put words on a page. They wouldn't look at the whole architecture of their website. They would look at just the page and they would try to optimize a page. But AI is trying to understand your whole business. So if you just look at it page, you need to start with the page content 100%. You need to optimize the pages, but then you need to look at the whole website, right? All together. So we've come up with, it's going to be on our website soon. We've been working on it for a while, what's called the AI visibility method. And these are the things that you need to pay attention to and gather to build your website. Business intelligence, all about your business. What do you sell? What do you not sell? Who do you like? All that information. Then buyer intelligence. Who's your actual buyer and what are their pain points? And why are they buying from you and not from your competitor? Why are they buying at all? Competitive intelligence, looking at your competition, who else out there is doing what, and are they doing it better than you, and why are they doing it better than you, and looking at your competition. Your knowledge architecture, right? So do you have the right content on your pages? Do you have the right content? Do you have FAQs listed on your website? Do you have what AI is expecting to find on the page? Then we have your website architecture. Do you have hub pages? Are you building all your pages with nice URL structure? That means the path. So you have your domain name.com/ whatever. So if all of your services, say you do have 10 pages for a service, say you do, I don't know. So say you are a commercial printer, right? And you do all kinds of different types of book printing, right? Maybe whatever you have. So you want all of your URLs, which is they also call slugs or permalinks, all right? Your domain name.com slash whatever. Maybe you want to organize them under like, book hyphen printing hyphen services, then slash, and then you have one page for like, we do spines. I don't even know. Like, then we do another one, maybe we do soft cover printing. Then we do another one that is hardcover printing, right? So that is your website architecture, making sure their URLs are grouped. They group your pages together. All your pages in the about section are under a slash about. Okay, you have slash about, slash team, slash about, slash history, slash about, slash mission, slash about, slash, what have you, partners, whatever. Okay, so do you see what I'm saying? So that's your website architecture. Your content engineering is understanding your content. What content do you need to add to your website so that AI gets a fuller picture of what you offer? Okay. And then validation. So let's talk about each of these things really quickly. So you want AI to understand your business. Okay. Not just your keywords. Okay. That means what you want to do first. Okay. When we work with our clients, is what we do first. Here's a task for you. You write it down if you want to. Another way that might be easier is if you like talk into your phone, use something that can transcribe. If you walk your dogs or you drive or whatever, you're walking around your house, something, put in your headphones and talk to it. Give it a download. Write down, get in writing all about your business. We've been in business this long. Here's some history that's happened. Here are, where we've done good results. Here are the services we offer, blah, 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 blah. This is when we offer them. They're seasonal. There's 9 to 5 during Monday through Friday, whatever. Like we have a team that goes out there. Like how's your process work? Like, do you do something and then do you have some kind of written report afterwards? Or do you have to check? I don't know. Like, what is your process? Everything about your business, everything about your business. We do this with our clients. I try to pull out of them all this information because we as business owners think that, well, of course, you know what I do. I'm a restaurant. I sell pizza. Well, I'm sorry, there's a lot of kinds of pizza. Do you sell it only by the slice? Do you have a wood-fired oven? Do you sell it? Is it really thick crust? Is it thin crust? Okay. Do you have gluten free? Are you open on weekends? Are you open on holidays? Are you open late? Do you have events? Do you have seating in your restaurant? Do you have restrooms? Like, how many seats do you have? Is it really big? Is it really busy? Do you have an outdoor eating area? I can go on and on and on about one pizza restaurant. Understanding the business, right? Getting a clear picture. Get everything down about your business. Get it down in writing. We do this, we get all this information from our clients, and we create what's called an ontology. We take your business and we put it into a big document that computers can read, a nice markdown document. You heard of MD files now? If you haven't heard of MD files, you're going to. MD files are markdown files. They're written very easy for AI to understand, and they're very small. So, like if you give a PDF to ChatGPT or to Claude to read, you're going to use up more tokens than if you give it a markdown file. It's a thin file. It doesn't have all the design and all the coding, right? It has this thin thing. So we take people's businesses and we put it into a markdown file. Then same thing as you do with so that's what you're going to do first. Everyone do that. It's a good idea, or work with someone to do that. After you get done all your business and writing everything about your business, right? You want to understand your buyers. Why are they buying from you? What is it about it? And so we do a buyer persona. There's plenty of templates online to help you do a buyer persona, but if you can do a buyer persona, it's really good. And it can tell you a lot about why people are working with you. And if you're not mentioning on your website the main pain points that customers have, there's a huge opportunity for you right there. It's sitting right there. Right? If people are coming to you because everybody else is really slow at no one gets back to them, mention on your website how you get back to every call within 24 business hours. It's not that difficult. Think of why the people are hiring you. Do you mention those things on your website, right? So first, get all your buyers down. not your buyers. Get down your the attributes of your ideal customer, like the demographics of them. What is their life like? Why are they hiring you? What problems are you solving for them? So you get all that done. You can do that the same thing, talking right into your phone if it's easier for you than typing it. So now you've got two big documents. Okay. So this helps you understand your market, right? So, and it also compares businesses. So you might be want to do a little bit of competitive analysis, like how many businesses out there are offering what you offer, et cetera. You might have done this already, but understanding who's out there and why people are buying. Okay. Then what you do is you take those two big documents you have, and now what you can do is build knowledge. Okay. We create what's called master context for all our clients. And before we do that, we find out what entities need to be mentioned on the website, what relationships, facts. Okay. Let me just tell you what an entity is quickly so you can understand this as well. Entities are basically you can think of them almost like nouns, okay, but they're more than nouns. They are concepts that ground your business. So if I'm a pizza, let's go back to the pizza restaurant, right? They're entities. I'm going to rattle off a whole bunch of entities off the top of my head, okay? I have tools that I use to figure out what entities we need to mention on the pages. We've developed all of our tools. So this may be off a little bit. I'm just going to do it off the top of my head. If I'm a pizza restaurant, what are entities? Red sauce, cheese, oil, probably crust, right? So then we also have all kinds of ingredients, right? Sausage, pepperoni, blah, blah, blah. Those are all entities. What else are entities? Wood fired, okay. Crispy crust, maybe cornmeal, maybe what would be other things? Recipe. Um, and then if you're a restaurant, of course, there's going to be like tables and chairs, how many spots can be there. Those are all entities. Any of those ideas about your business, you want to figure out all of the entities that need to be mentioned on your website and then figure out where they go. Okay, so that's a very important thing, but you can't get all the entities that you need to mention on your website until you do the discovery, until you do your buyer persona, until you do your competitive analysis. You can come up with some, like I'm coming up with some about the pizza place, right? With what you think, but it probably is not an exhaustive list. And when you use the right tools and you have all of the information I just told you, the buyer persona and the discovery, you can figure, and your competition, you can figure out what entities you also need to mention on your website in a very methodical way. And like I said, we'll take those and we'll create an ontology that's probably above this webinar, but I just wanted to mention that. And that allows you to create master context. And if you haven't heard of this before, you're going to hear about it a lot now. What is happening in AI is we're using AI, like maybe you have an AI that you've been training, right? You're training the model. You're training it on your business. So a lot of my clients do that. They will train whatever model they want to on their business. So they're constantly giving them information about it. So that is creating in the AI's memory is creating master context. So it's creating context. There's a new job coming out now. It's called a context engineer. Because what's happening is you get all this context, and over time, especially for new companies, maybe your language changes. Maybe you don't do that service anymore. Maybe you're adding additional things you are doing. And what happens is if you don't fix that master context, it's still creeping into all of your other material. So there's this new job for context engineers to manage the context. And for really big companies who are using that a lot, we have to figure out a way to make sure that our master context, our base content that we're using is correct and up to date. Okay. But once you have this master context, which you can think of as like the God about your website, right? Now you can create all your material you need to for the website. You've got like here's where we are. This is our business in one big written picture, right? We got this big written picture. Now that you have that, information. Now you can build the website, right? So only now you can build it. You can't, if you go start building the website and you don't have the discovery and I don't have the buyer's pain points and I don't have the competition, now I don't have the entities that need to be on there and the facts and the master context, how can I build a website that's going to work? I'm guessing. So we want to build a website that works because if we're going to spend time, energy, and money doing this, let's do it the right way. Let's not waste it all. Okay, so let's do it the right way. This is the right way to do it. So now we're going to build the website. Now we have navigation, thinking about what is the menu structure. I love doing that part. That's my favorite part. Place for everything and everything in its place. What is the new menu going to look like? What drop downs are you going to have? What sections are you going to have? Where are you going to put everything? Organizing it all. I love it. You want to make sure you have your service pages. You want to think about linking. Linking, we don't talk about a lot, but linking to other pages within your website is really important. And the words that are linkable are in the link, right? The words, that's called the anchor text. So the actual words that are underlined or bolded with a link to another page, that is called anchor text. And that language is very important because it helps search engines and AI systems understand what they're going to find on the other side of the link. So the links that you put on your website. So you want to are very important. You want to look at your linking structure. Are you linking all over your website to one page because you just didn't think about it? That happens. That happens a lot. And then you realize, oh my God, that page is not that important. I don't know why I've been linking to that page all over my website. Well, guess what? Search engines and AI systems see you link to that page all over. That must be your most important page. They only know, they didn't talk to you. They know that from your links. So looking at your internal linking structure, where your links are on your website, how many do you have? Where are they pointing to? It's kind of tricky. It's not easy. Building facts pages. If you go to totoseo.com/facts, like I said, you can see the facts page that we have there. That's very important. And adding schema markup. I just want to mention something about schema markup, and then I'm going to keep going because we got to go to questions. Schema markup, you might hear about, it's also called structured data. Well, structured data is the data that's inside the schema markup. So you have schema markup, and that's like the form, the field, the form, right? That's the form is the schema markup. And then the structured data is what are the values in it, right? So like the business name from is the schema markup. We all have that. But my structured data will say Toto SEO. Your structured data will say the name of your company. So you might hear about that. I'm going to tell you something, okay? Yes, it's very, very important. It is not going to fix your website. So just because you put schema markup on your website does not mean you're going to fix the foundation. You have to fix the foundation first. Schema markup, what it is you can't see it. You can use a tool you can look at it. It's coding that's on the back end of your website, but we don't see it when we go to websites. But computers do. And search engines like Google have used structured schema markup for many, many years since they decided to like come up with structured data. Okay, so they've been using it, but there's many types of structured data, but they've only been using a little bit. I'll give you an example of a structured data. Structured data is like events. If you have an event and you just type out the event on your page, we're going to have like a really big open house and it's going to be on Thursday from noon to 1, and you just type it up. That is not structured. It's in a paragraph, and AI systems doesn't know what that is, right? Or search engines, they just see a paragraph of text. If you take that information, the start day, the end day, the start time, the end time, the name of the event, the address of the location, right? Those are all data points. The description of it, right? The amount of the ticket, right? If you have all of that information and you put it into a form, right? And every event has the same form, so you know where to look for the start time on every single paper because they're all in the same. That is structured data, is taking an event and putting it into a structure like fields that you fill out. AI and Google can read those fields much more easily than a paragraph that's on your website. You can understand that, right? They're computers. So schema markup is like doing that. It takes information about your website and it puts it in that format. Like for example, on your about page, you should, and if it talks about you, you should have person schema markup on that page. So the person schema markup is a bunch of fields you need to fill in about the person. If your about page does not have the information that's in the schema markup, you can't schema markup can't you can't have information in schema markup that's not reflected on the page because that you're trying to trick the search engines and they're going to say the schema markup says this, the page says something else, or it isn't complete. I'm ignoring this. But if you have your page set up properly with all of your information on it, and the schema markup is just a validator, is going through and it's taking the information on the page and putting it into those fields. The computers, AI reads the fields and then they look at the page and like, yep, this is all here and it's the same, it's consistent. Okay, it's good. I understand the schema markup better. It's kind of like a translator, right? For somebody that maybe doesn't speak English so well, but you know what they're talking about once you can hear the person speaking in their language and then you hear the translator, you're like, oh, yes, the translator is exactly saying what they're saying. So then the computers read it. Okay. You want to engineer your content. Not blog posts, but knowledge. You can make blog posts. Yes, you want to make blog posts, but you want to give it knowledge. Blog posts are not just, you don't just use ChatGPT to rattle off a bunch of blog posts that doesn't have any helpful information. Same with pages. Okay. Don't do that. Don't do that. Doesn't help. It needs to have examples. You can use ChatGPT or AI to write your blog posts. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm just saying you need to add in a lot of your own personal information. What I'm saying is don't have them write 150 articles without your input and then just copy and paste them onto your website. We just had a big update within was it in May and June? I think it was in early June it finished to punish websites that have been doing that. Okay. And then you want to validate everything. Okay. So here are things that you can do today. Use consistent language on your website. We talked about that. Don't call something liquor infused in one place and alcohol infused in another place. All right. So use consistent language. Answer real customer questions. How you do that is you do your buyer persona and you understand what questions your customer will have. Answer them all on your website. I told you this in the beginning. If you want to do one thing, strengthen your reviews. My gosh, go get more reviews. If all this stuff is too confusing for you, whatever, you know how to get reviews. You can do that. Okay. I'm telling you, it will make a huge difference. And if you can get them to talk to you about your company on Reddit, okay, fix your heading structure. A lot of web developers don't even know that there needs to be a proper heading structure. You need to have one H1 per page, and then you need to have H2s, and you don't skip levels. You can have H3s, but you don't have an H3 unless you have an H2. It goes H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, and you don't throw in an H6 if there's no H5. It just goes in order. It's very easy to understand. It's like an outline. I mentioned this before, create one page for each service of your website, of your business. Okay. Add author credibility. I just talked to you about like the about page. We didn't really talk a lot about other things to show what's called your EEAT, your experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So you want to add that credibility. If you are a doctor or doing something like that, you need to add all of your credentials and everything on your website, all of them. And then in the schema markup, you need to make sure that's all mentioned and you want to put all those those accolades and accreditations, you want to put them also on your facts page. So adding that, really important. And then, like I said, create that facts page. So this is the thing though, you still have time. You might feel like, oh my God, I'm so behind. Well, so is everyone else. Okay. Everyone's behind. Everyone. This is the same thing. When I was in the early 2000s, I learned HTML in the 1990s, but no one was building websites back then because we didn't have computers in our house. Okay. Then we started getting them in our house and we started getting internet that was really the cable internet was a big deal, right? Because the dial up. So, anyways, I would go to my customers. I was a Novell engineer. I was doing server support and desktop support. And I'd be like, you guys need a website. And they'd be like, why? Why? Oh, we need a website. I'm like, well, because you need to, because everyone's gonna be using the internet. I'm like, nah, Jennifer, I'm not gonna spend the money. I'm not doing it. All right. Well, we all know where we are now, right? So I am telling you, I've been through this. This is what's happening. Do it now. It's going this way. The businesses that do it and do it early and take their whole website and put it down in written language that is structured and clear and easy for AI systems to understand. Take everything here and put it there. Train the models, train them and do it properly because there's proper way to do it. You can't just say I'm going to do it. There's no way I'm going to wire anything electrical in my house because I don't know how to do it properly and there's big ramifications. Your business is, if this is your livelihood, is a big ramification if something goes wrong, right? So make sure you do it properly. If you don't want to hire someone, then do the research, do it, find it. It's all out there. You can get all the research. You can do it all yourself. Get all of the schema markup, get the structure, get everything done. Okay. All right. I'll take some questions. Hopefully, there's some questions. I don't know. Hopefully, I know that was very high level, but hopefully it helped to change some mindsets and help people understand what they need to do next and give you a path to kind of go on, not exact steps, because every business is different, but somewhere to go.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. There's a lot of material there, and we do have lots of questions. So we'll use our remaining time for question and answer. We'll take as many as we can up until the top of the hour. So just a reminder, if you do have a question, please use the Q&A button and submit them that way. And as I say, we'll take as many as we can. So our first question is from Sarah. And this is maybe to just, she's asking, could you go back to the 6 questions AI asked when reading your website? Maybe you just put that slide back up, Jennifer, and just briefly recap them.
Wait, this one here, what AI looks for? Wait, which one was it? I'm
I think it
sorry.
was right at the beginning. It came in early on in the first few minutes when you
This
said,
one. This one?
yes, that one.
Okay. Yes, this is what I was. Now we go back to this now that I've talked, right? So does this make more sense to you than in the beginning? Who are you? Who do you help? Why should I trust you? What do you do? Where do you work? And should I recommend you?
Okay, that's and again, just a reminder, people, you can access the recording and get all this. We'll get it out to everyone who's registered. Next question is from Rosalind. How consistent should the wording actually be across pages? If I keep repeating the same phrases, won't the website become repetitive or boring for human readers? And how do you strike the right balance?
I'm so happy she asked that question because sometimes I might say something and it might come across and people misunderstand it. So this is an area where I should have paid more attention. So thank you. I am not saying to put the same sentences across your website the same way. Absolutely not. That is called duplicate content. And duplicate content is a big no-no because, especially if it is taken duplicate content from another website, that's called stealing. And nobody likes that. And on the internet, it's called the canonical authority. There's one canonical authority. So each page on your website site should be its own canonical authority, meaning the content that is written on this page cannot be found anywhere else on my website and written in the same exact way and cannot be found on the internet and written in the same way. Okay, so if you have the same language on multiple pages, start doing that. Which one's the canonical authority? AI systems, if they like what that sentence is that you're talking about, they want to grab it off your website. Which page do they grab it off of? Which one is the canonical authority? It doesn't like that. So what I should have said or explained in a better way is your nomenclature you use needs to be clear and the same across all the pages, not full sentences and paragraphs. Okay. So when I was talking about, I have a client that they do structured cabling installation. So they do all the wires for businesses so we can off computers and phones and other things like that, cameras and stuff. So they do that. So that is also called Division 27. I think I'm remembering. We launched their website a little while ago. So on their website, I realized we need to refer to every time we talk about structured cabling, parentheses, division 27. Something like that. Don't quote me exactly. But what I'm saying, so now every time I made sure my team was, every time we mentioned structure cabling, mention this the division 27. Is that what I said? As well. Okay. So it's talking about the language. You don't want to refer to your clients as clients, certain places, and customers. That's an easier one to understand. So just use the same language, meaning not full sentences. You meaning the language that you use to describe things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a good clarification. Rosalind's got a couple more, but we'll come back to those if we have time. But I want to let some other people have a chance. This one's from Marjorie. Buyer persona. Where can I build that?
Oh, well, a buyer persona, there's so many different ways you can build it. Basically, you're going to create a big text document. You can build a note on if you have an iPhone, you can make it in a note or a text document, or you can make it into a beautiful Word document or something else. But it's really about your customer, and there's different templates that you can use that are found online that will help prompt you. You can also ask AI, say, I want to make a buyer persona. Can you give me questions that I need to answer that will help me create this buyer persona? So you can lean on AI to help you create those. And I would always say, what are best practices out on the internet? What's going to give me the most? I want you to ask me some questions. One example I'll give you really quickly. I had a client in Connecticut that sold organic farms for people. They would go gardens in their yards, and they thought that they should sell all these beautiful, crispy, red, juicy vegetables. It's so yummy, these vegetables. And after I did the buyer persona, I'm like, these people are buying they're buying entertainment. They're buying entertainment. They are not buying your vegetables because they can go to Whole Foods because their garden started at $10,000. They can go to Whole Foods and buy $30,000 worth of vegetables just fine. They're not buying the vegetables. They are or a farm stand. I mean, they are buying the vegetables. They are, but they're really buying this lifestyle. So a buyer persona helps you understand, why are people really, really, really engaging with you? What's the real reason? That's what we want to think about.
Okay, very helpful. Next one is just a question from Christy. Is everything in your DIY website book still accurate, relevant, and up to date?
It is accurate and relevant 100%, because it's really funny. I just met with a client a couple months ago, and I did their website. Well, it was an old client. I did their website, I think, in 2015. And when I met with him, I was trying to sell him, I didn't mean about something else. I'm like, by the way, if you need SEO service, he's like, oh, we're coming up in AI, because the way I built his website way back then was correct. So that's just funny. But they're in Stamford, Connecticut. But anyway, so what my point is that yes, the information as far as building the website is totally up to date. And everything is. The thing is that now we have to do more, and that more is not in the book, because the book now we have agents without ChatGPT was just coming out. AI, our use was just coming out at that time. We weren't really searching. I don't even think you could search the internet with AI at that time. So yes, it's all correct, but we need to do more. That's the problem. All this stuff is making us do more work, not less.
I think it's a challenge to keep it up to date. Here's one from Fernanda. What is your favorite website platform?
To build a website? Well, we use WordPress and we love WordPress. It is you start to see articles now on his WordPress that's dead. I don't believe that. WordPress is the best, because you know why? You can use tools like Rank Math is very good to put the schema markup on your website. You have control. We're working on a Shopify website right now. If you have pages on Shopify, which you need to have pages on your Shopify website, you can't nest your pages. Remember, I was talking about the URL structure and putting everything in about underneath the slash about. You can't do that with that platform. So that's a limitation of that platform. Wix in Squarespace, the SEO they give you is just very rudimentary, right? So we like WordPress because it's very flexible and we can use it, but it's not an entry level. It's not for entry level people. But soon there's going to be, just so you know, if you want to watch something, there's a tool called M-Dash. I've played around a little bit with it from Cloudflare. I don't know if they're going to end up developing it, but they're talking about now completely serverless website. So no server, and you can build it by vibe coding it. So you just tell it what you want and it builds. So that's where we're headed. I'm just telling you. But right now, WordPress is our platform of choice.
Okay, very helpful. Here's one from Marjorie. For a business that is just starting, do you have suggestions on where to go to get a website built?
Well, if you're gonna if you wanna do, I would invest in a very good web developer that is going to build it, that talks, whoever you're interviewing should be talking about the things that we mentioned in this. If you're gonna go and get it built by somebody who's just gonna build a website and they're not paying attention to this, you are wasting your time and your money and your energy. And I don't know how it may turn out great, but it might turn out there's a lot of people. One of my clients years ago was like, "Oh, I bartered." She left me. She's like, "Well, I bartered for my new website with the guy, my floor salesman, because he started selling websites. Because some people just think they can hire people overseas and they don't need to know anything about it and produce a website. Okay, yeah, maybe they can produce. You get something, but it might not be very good. So you want to make sure whoever's developing your website is paying attention to these things we're talking about, the messaging, understanding what they need to do a deep discovery. If they're not going to do a deep discovery and they're going to build you a website without the deep discovery, you need to move on. How are you going to get the content on the pages? What content's going to go? Are they going to say you have to give it all to me? Well, now you need to know the entities. You need to know all the facts that need to be on there. You need to come up with everything. So are they going to help you write it? So those are some questions to ask for who's going to build your website. I hope this helped you be a better interviewer.
Okay, unfortunately, we are at the top of the hour, and that's all the time we have for questions today. Just as a reminder to everyone, a recording of the webinar will be available on our website, westernconnecticut.score.org, within a day or so. And you can also check our website for upcoming webinars. There's one next Thursday as well. Again, if you want free individual counseling, you can visit our website and just click on the Request a Mentor button, and we'd really appreciate it. And I know Jennifer would, if you could fill out your evaluations that are being sent at the end of the webinar. It really helps us going forward. And on behalf of SCORE, I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's live webinar. And in particular, a big thank you for Jennifer for presenting today. Thanks very much. Goodbye,
Thank you.
everyone.